What expensive purchase have you made that has paid for itself many times over because you saved money in the long run? 23 years ago, I bought a used 1991 Toyota 4-cylinder truck. Paid it off early. It's now 29 years old and refuses to die. Good gas mileage, low insurance. I change the oil myself. Heck yeah, I had an 85 pickup growing up, 22R engine. Owned a 95 Tacoma for like 10 years and sold it with almost 260k. Then a couple years ago I picked up a 2001 Tacoma with 240k miles on it for $4k. Put a couple grand into it for maintenance and it became my daily driver while the nicer vehicle sits at home. 255k on it now, and I kinda want to put a turbo on it. Freaking love those trucks. New windows on our house. Replace the old single pane metal framed windows. It was like a waterfall of cold air coming off of them and the noise from the street was obnoxious. Heating bill was cut in half. I wish my landlord would understand this. When I moved back to my hometown over a year ago, I bought a 27-feet sailboat to live on because rent here is outrageous. Boat cost $4,500 to buy, and mortgage at a decent marina is about $170 a month. Rent for a studio apartment or 1BR here is $900 to $1,300. Every month I save between $600 and $1,100, so the boat paid for itself in 4-9 months. Plus I live in a sailboat down at the marina. Sounds so much better than I'll live in a van down by the river. Quality cold weather gear. Not only does it work better and look better, I've had a couple jackets for over 5 years now that see heavy use. Meanwhile I have a couple friends that basically buy and throw away cheap gear every season. Works like crap, looks like crap, ends up in a landfill, costs more in the long run. Lose, 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 lose. Always buy after Christmas. I've had good luck the third week of January. I'd think my top of the line Eddie Bauer parka was about 75% off. I bought a 500.00 bicycle to use as my main transportation. 500 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're only making 8 an hour, it took some time to save up for it. With public transportation being $2.50 a ride, the bike paid for itself in about 3 months. I used that bike for about 3 years. I still have it, but I moved so I can't use it for the same purposes. Thanks for the silver. Same. I bought a bike that was probably almost $500 after tax. Not really even that expensive for a bike, but pricey when you're making minimum wage. Such a smooth ride compared to the $100 bikes I bought and destroyed from big box stores. Plus my bike shop will do a quick tune-up every season for free. A good bike is life-changing. Freaking rechargeable batteries. Xbox players save millions. Heck yeah, we have a bank of AA rechargeable batteries for the 4 Xbox players in the house. I have a bike, not even an expensive one, just a regular bike that I use to go to work every day. It's a half-hour ride. I no longer use public transportation or a car, so I save money on gas or metro tickets. Cycling an hour a day is enough to keep in okay shape, so I don't need to go to the gym. Best money I have ever spent. Laser printers are expensive up front, but they will save you lots of money by no longer needing cartilages. Also is less wasteful because of it. I love the autocorrect here. I'm imagining people cutting off their ears and noses in order to supply their inkjet printers. Bludget. Now I know what kind of printer Satan uses to print out contracts. When my wife and I first started dating, she wanted to learn to cut hair and wanted a pair of scissors that cost $25, which was a lot for us then. She offered that if I bought her the scissors, she'd cut my hair for free as long as we were together. She lied. After 25 years she declared that she'd repaid me for the scissors and was going to stop cutting my hair. Still not a bad deal. A really good water bottle and to-go mug. Stainless steel and insulated. Not the most expensive purchase, but expensive for cups. It's so worth it. I have never had an Nalgene water bottle break or leak on me. The only reason I've had to purchase a new one if because I lost one or two moving house. A very expensive suit. This was the late 90s and I was 20 years old getting paid by the hour to do glorified help desk work. I had dropped out of college a couple semesters, and because I needed to work, a recruiter called me out of the blue saying they needed someone right away. Could I interview the next day? The employer was the largest privately held company in the US, and they had a reputation for being a very conservative suit and tie operation. All I had was a poor fitting sport coat I got when I worked at Circuit City. I called my father and he said go to Nordstrom's, explain the situation and they'll get one done for you. So that's what I did, and $600 later I'd emptied my bank account and was walking out the door with a new suit freshly altered that night. I did the interview and just hit it out of the park. They offered me $55k starting salary to do app support, which in the 90s was a crap ton of money for a guy going from making not a lot of money. I have 6 acres of land with a fair amount of trees on it. I spent about $25k for a backhoe that has saved and will save me tons of back-breaking work. It's amazing the amount of stuff I can do that would take huge amounts of energy without the backhoe. Need a tree taken down and the stump removed? Give me an hour. Need a dead horse buried? True story? Give me about 2 hours. Need a 100-foot long trench dug for water or power? Give me an hour. Need a 15-foot deep hole dug for who knows what nefarious reason? Give me about 2 hours. Need to flip a car? Give me about 2 minutes. Plow something? Completely destroy your yard? Move that dirt? Drag something heavy? Unstick something stuck? It was a lot of money for me, but incredible what I can do. How my dad rented a backhoe once to bury our horse. In that 24 hours he dug up as many rocks and stumps as he could, rearranged some stone walls, leveled the backyard and also buried our dead horse. Electric hair clippers. $50. Haven't paid for a haircut in 7 years. High quality tools. I've been through so many crappy tools. Basically anything you can buy at the local OB. It's all made in China and not worth anything. Older German or British tools are fantastic and will last 100 years with some love. Funny enough, some of the best tools I've ever used came from garage sales or estate sales. They typically came from older people who've had them for years but no longer need them. And the best part is that they can be incredibly cheap. Taking an Uber home when drunk, then back to your car when not drunk. Why cheaper than a DUI or manslaughter conviction? As someone who got hit by a drunk driver this year, you are my hero. Thank you for being safe and smart. My wife and I just bought a house. The guy we bought the place from suggests that the house itself is somewhat expensive to heat and keep warm. So the first thing I looked at was the attic, and sure enough, there's 7 inches of insulation when there should be like 16. We're going to blast a few inches of insulation in there and probably save enough on oil to pay for it several times over throughout the life of the place. Before you blow insulation in the attic, look at air sealing the top plates. It helps reduce the chimney effect. We did that with our current house and it made a huge difference. The house maintains a consistent temperature much easier. Noise blocking headphones have saved me money and lawyers from all the co-workers I would have killed. I bought those whatever expensive Sony noise cancelling headphones after a lot of debating with myself. My work productivity is so much higher with them that they definitely paid for themselves. I work from home, but my toddler, wife, dogs, neighbors, construction, mailman, delivery guy, garbage trucks, lawn mowers, cars honking, all that little distracting stuff is gone. Kenmore washer and dryer purchased new from Sears in 1998. They are still going strong and I guarantee when they do kick the bucket, the new washer and dryer I'll have to get from Lowe's will be lucky to last 10 years. My wife and I have been sorting pictures. We found one of my grandson's first day home from hospital. Our tan Maytag washer dryer is in the back of the photo, just delivered days earlier. The same Maytag is still working daily. It does at least a load a day. She just needs a belt every 3 years. I live in Minnesota and am a single woman. One winter I missed 2 shifts at work because my car wouldn't start and I didn't have anyone who could jump it and roadside assistance couldn't be there for hours. After that I went out and spent a little over $100 on a portable car starter. It is a small black box that connects to the battery and jumps the car without needing someone else's car. This has saved me so much time and money. Also, being a single girl who at the time worked at night, I didn't have to worry that some stranger stopping to help might have ulterior motives. I feel much safer and always keep it in my purse. Added bonus, I can charge my phone with it too. I've been singing its praises ever since. Mine has quick charge, a flashlight, and cost only $70. It's as useful and as tiny as my portable tire inflator. That saves me gas and tire wear because my tires are always topped up once a month. It takes 5 minutes. My boots. I was going through a pair of $120 boots every 6 months or so. I finally broke down and bought a pair of $400 boots from a local store. Not only do they clean and oil them monthly, for free, they also restitch and resole them as needed. When they eventually do wear out to the point of no repair, I will be buying the same exact boots from them again. I went to internet this company with a budget bigger than they can manage. I got some Bombas Red Wings got free. I even got to choose. Those things are now my prized possession. Hydraulic floss has helped me keep my teeth so much cleaner, saving so much on dental. I thought of a hydraulic press and you were ripping out your teeth and putting into the press. High quality kettle. Technically I didn't spend a lot money on it, but my grandma did and I got it when she passed away. By the look of the handles it's probably 20-30 years old, but the actual kettle is still in better condition than a kettle I purchased 5 years ago. Bidet, not super expensive, but saves on toilet paper. I've used it for about a year and I love it. Just last weekend I was recommending a bidet to a friend, checked Amazon, and the model I bought at $25 has been jacked up to $145. The fancier models, which I actually don't recommend, were over $300. Freaking crazy. So years ago when I started a warehouse job I dropped about $170 on a pair of decent Red Wing boots. Everyone I worked with said it was ridiculous but they would go through a pair of cheap boots a month. I still have my original pair, but I need to retire them. Came here to say this. Spent ages 16-30 doing construction while wearing $30 Walmart boots and I never had a pair that lasted more than a few months. My mom bought me a $200 pair of Red Wings for my birthday and now I won't wear cheap boots. Ended up losing them to a pit bull pup. Otherwise I'd still be using them today. Sewing machine. Years ago my wife and I had a Starbucks Verismo espresso machine. Each pod cost $1 and we'd each use 2 every day. That's $4 a day, so we were spending upwards of $28 a week just on coffee. Still cheaper than Starbucks, but we grew tired of the pod trash and having to find the coffee pods we liked. So, we decided to purchase a Durarina Micro 1 coffee machine. It grinds and pressure brews coffee and espresso. We were able to reduce our costs from $4 a day to less than $0.20 per day, assuming $5 pound coffee bought in bulk. The machine was $800, but it paid for itself in less than 8 months. That was 4 years ago this month. We've saved over $5,000 in that time. Plus no more pod trash, and we get to choose whatever coffee beans we want, rather than being limited to what was in pods. This one sounds extremely frivolous, but just hear me out. For my high school prom, I rented my dress from a popular designer rental company, so that was cheap, but I decided to splurge on a $98 pair of black heels. I worked for my money. Before then, I'd never fathomed spending so much on shoes, but when I saw them, they were the perfect any occasion nice heels. Matched literally anything, could be dressed all the way up to prom level, but the height was reasonable enough to get away with a more professional look, too. Let me tell you, when I slipped those bad boys on, my life was forever changed and I learned an important lesson that has saved me hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars over the years since. Expensive heels are expensive because they are comfortable. I repeat, expensive heels are comfortable to wear. I danced all the way through prom in those 4.5 inches beauties, and they remain in my closet, still regularly used at age 26. I bought a $60 bidet attachment for my toilet back in September. Not expensive, but it sure is paying for itself right now. Maybe not what you're looking for, but cloth diapers. My wife and I cloth diapered with our first child, and are using them again for our second. The initial investment was hefty. We spent just shy of $500 for about 30 diapers. However, we don't buy disposable at all. I have conservatively said we would spend $100 a month on disposable. We cloth diapered till my daughter was 2.5 years old, so 30 months. That's roughly $3,000, so saving about $2,500. With our second child there is no upfront cost since we still have the diapers and he turns 9 months old in 2 weeks. So another $900 saved. Now this isn't perfect. I understand the added cost of water and detergent, but that's negligible based on laundry for a 4-person household anyways when you figure bulk detergent and e-washers. My wife would also say the environmental impact of not throwing diapers into landfills. This is exactly what I was looking for. Upfront investment that saves more than just money over time. Mine was an $800 coffee machine that stopped our dependence on coffee pods while saving us thousands over the last 4 years. We started down that path because of the pod trash, not because we were seeking to save money. I went to one of those shoe stores that does a 3D scan of your feet. I got scanned and learned that instead of having flat feet, like I had thought for years, I actually have high arches. I got a pair of $120 sneakers with a pair of $50 arch supports. No more knee pain. Espresso machine. I'm an ex-barista, so I know how to make most fancy beverages, but I didn't have the equipment. I'm also addicted to coffee, so my household was easily spending $10.20 per day on beverages. I bought a $90 basic espresso machine with foam wand and I spent another $60 in startup materials, nice coffee, milks, ice tray, reusable straws, and a few syrups. I kept a detailed log of my expenses for the first few months and each drink came out to be about $1.60 in materials. I generally make at least 2 beverages a day and it saves us $300 per month. Climbing rope can be pretty expensive on a dirtbag budget, but it is significantly less expensive than a hospital stay or a funeral. Follow guidelines, and test regularly and buy new one after recommended time. I wish I could say heartworm prevention. On Chewy.com it's like $30 for a pack of 6 or something like that. It turns out to $5 a month. Now my dog is on his last heartworm shot. After buying into a wellness plan, his shots are still $250. This one is his 3rd in a month. Buy heartworm prevention for your dogs. People, it's so much cheaper than these shots. Decent coffee maker. Espresso maker. I drink 2 double shots a day. That thing paid for itself within a month. I also don't need to leave the house. Making the espresso takes literally 1 minute, and quality even with pre-ground coffee is better than of non-cafe coffee from around the corner. Now, the grinder is something I still have to justify for myself. As of yet I'm too stubborn to pay a reasonable price for orders of magnitude better tasting coffee. I order from a coffee shop. That is, the shop that sells coffee, not a cafe, and they grind it just before packing and sending. Much better than pre-ground. A few years ago, I walked the Camino de Santiago, French way, which is 800 kilometers. I had never been on such a long hike before, but on shorter trips, I always had trouble with my feet. I'd get terrible blisters on long days and lose toenails on mountain descents. I purchased, because my crappy insurance would pay, services from a podiatrist before going on the Camino. I learned a lot about maintaining my feet, and I had no trouble on the Camino and have not had any blisters or lost nails since then. I essentially paid the podiatrist for a lesson in foot care. A house full of LED light bulbs. I just moved into an apartment that has 100% incandescents. In 2020, I don't know where they even buy them. Plus the ceilings are like 15 feet, so it's no easy task to replace one. An expensive bicycle. My old one was a $600 cruiser commuter, which isn't cheap, but the roads and type of cycling I do here were a nightmare on the components. Every 3-4 months I had to bring it into the shop to have something replaced or fixed. Broken spoke, wheels trued, tires replaced, and the big scam at my local bike shop is that your chain is stretched, so you need a new chain and cassette scam they used to pull one over on naive folks to up their sales. I can do all the work myself, but it's a value of my time thing. Annoying. Plus I'd lose use of my primary transport for a week while the work was being done. In the 5 years I had it, the only things I hadn't replaced were the headset, front wheel, and cranks. I'd been through 2 sets of pedals, 2 bottom brackets, full set of brake and shift cables, 7-9 cassettes and chains, rear derailleur and drop down, 3 V-brakes, about a dozen brake pads, 2 shifters, 2 rear wheels, 2-3 sets of tires, countless tubes, and a fricking partridge in a pear tree. I'd spent more keeping the stupid thing running than I'd paid for it, so I bit the bullet and bought a $2,000 touring bike, and it's worlds of difference. After 2 years of 48 weeks a year use, I was replacing a tube, the only thing besides a cable I've had to replace, and decided to true the wheels. They were maybe 2mm out of true. It's insane how well built and bomb-proof this bike is, and stable. Under load, this baby purrs. So, never again. I'll buy a good bike out of the gate, and save on maintenance any day of the week. I bought a pair of Teaks. I was replacing my black flats twice a year because I wore them every day, but these have been about a year and a half now, going great. Plus they're super comfy. I wore them 2 days straight at Disneyland and no blister, sores, anything. I want a pair of these so bad, but can't seem to make myself spend the money. Maybe this is my sign to pull the trigger on it finally. Laser eye surgery. No more needing to buy new glasses every couple of years. No more forking out for contact lenses. Also avoided the incidentals like glasses repair kits, eyeglass cleaners, all the consumables that go with contacts. Saving money long run isn't even the good part. The good part is not needing glasses. Crap, it's been so long I totally forgot about that. The cost savings was never the driving force. But you're totally right. I wore glasses and contacts and frick that's expensive. As I'm about to hit 40 I am starting to see some changes. I don't think my eyes are worse, but I think they just get tired more easily. My master's degree. I have an undergraduate in psychology, which made me eligible for jobs that paid about $10 an hour. I went back to school, got a master's degree in statistics, and the investment has paid itself off many times over. Not necessarily expensive these days, but a vacuum packing machine for the kitchen is the best thing I've ever invested in. I rarely throw a scrap of food out nowadays, and freezer burn is a thing of the past. Apart from using it for sous vide, I also make bacon, ham, salt beef using the equilibrium method, so had perfect dry cured supply for years. It's a piece of cake to produce and a different class to store crap, and lasts for many months when kept vac packed. A new boiler and a flush of all radiators in the house. Halved my monthly gas bills and the house is actually warm. For women, I would say a menstrual cup. You can even find cheaper options than the Diva cup. But man, the amount of money that I'm saving on not buy pads and tampons is amazing. If you're a woman who is struggling financially, a one-time payment for the menstrual cup is an amazing investment. Period panties, menstrual cups and reusable pads are a lifesaver. I spend $30-ish a month on pads because I'm a heavy bleeder and I have to use overnight pads all the time. Switched to a cup and period panties. Now I don't buy anything at all. My pellet stove. It used to cost $300 a month to heat my 900 square featuring house to 70 degrees. With the pellet stove it's max $4 a day and my house is 80 degrees. $5k spent on a nice stove paid for itself in a couple years. And it's been running for 15 years now. You have been visited by the Source Chihuahua. You will be blessed with good pasta, but only if you comment simmer well. Papa simmer well papa. Like and subscribe you magnificent person.